Final question, gentlemen. Final question from Deshaun Malone's brother, Marshall.
Why is that funny?
Yeah. Is genetics funny to you?
What's your brother's name, Moose?
He's got two of them.
Deshaun said in the chat, you better answer my tweets. I didn't wake up early to not have them answered. And you went with his brother instead of him, so that's why
Deshaun did, as far as I know, I have not been sent a question that Deshaun sent in today.
So he tweeted. So, I mean...
I woke up right before I set up this room. I have not looked at Twitter since I've been up. So, from Marshall, hey y'all, my brother Deshaun writes in a lot, and I thought I would take a crack at it. Do you ever see games as services we play today, Rainbow Six, Destiny, Division, Overwatch, etc., having their own services we tie our Xbox Live, PlayStation, Nintendo, and PC accounts into to have crossplay? Bungie does this already in Destiny in terms of viewing your account, but when will it have an effect in playing the games? I kind of feel like there's a narrative spinning already.
I mean, they're kind of starting that right now with like Fortnite and Rocket League right now.
Yeah. Everyone's crapping on Sony because I can't play. Fortnite
what is this voice?
I can't play Fortnite on my PlayStation with my Xbox friend. No, that's not my
no piggy.
Sing the song, Matt. Sing the song.
What song?
The Kermit song. The one he sings at the end of like the movies and stuff.
Oh, it's not easy being green.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, I thought you meant Rainbow Connection.
Yeah, that one too.
We'll do it for the next best of.
That's how the show opens.
Kermit the Frog here, and I think games as a service. No,
that's actually pretty good.
That's my Kermit. I think the narrative around crossplay is kind of becoming a thing to the point where I've said on many recent occasions where I think the next console generation should have it. That and backwards compatibility, like these kind of have to be things now.
I mean, I don't really care about the cross-play stuff, but cross-progression, man, would save it. Like Destiny's the big example where like, man, I just wish I could just use the characters I already have on PlayStation when I go play with my friends on Xbox or on PC or whatever, right? It's like,
yeah,
would be amazing for that stuff, especially like if you've bought 2 copies of the game. We're not even talking about like getting you bought an Xbox, you get it on PC, but like I totally agree with you. Like cross progression is essential. Like it's why should you have to start over again on the same game just because you're playing it on a different platform? Like but
you know what'll never have cross progression?
Money is the answer. Is why that you do that.
Yeah,
but I'm still buying the game. Like I'm still buying a copy of the game.
But like look at Apex right now. If you buy the characters if you buy Toxic or Caustic and Mirage on PC, on PlayStation 4, you're not getting those characters because they want you to rebuy them.
Yeah, on a free-to-play game, that'll never happen.
Yeah, but Fortnite's doing it.
Right, but like that's the thing is like there are good examples of that where monetization is done right, and then there is Apex Legends, which as much as I love Apex Legends, their monetization is fucking garbage.
Does anyone know how Minecraft works? Like does it have
you have to sign into Xbox Live, but as soon as you do that, like everything you purchase is across all platforms.
See, that's good.
See, like because on the Switch version of Minecraft, you can use the Master Chief and Gears of War skins on your Switch version, which is kind of funny. And if you're playing the Switch version and you're playing with your friends, you can use the Mario skins and stuff.
I don't know if I'm answering. I'm sorry, not Deshaun. Marshall's question. I mean, if it's about crossplay or not. I mean, I think crossplay is a great feature. You're seeing now with some Xbox titles where there are lots of console players who do not want to play with PC players, specifically Sea of Thieves. To the point that they're going to cut the player base in half. Well, not in half because way more people are playing on console, but they're giving the option for the console gamers to not play with PC players. And even on Xbox, they were talking about they're going to limit lobbies for players playing with mouse and keyboard and players playing with a controller, right? So it's I think there's still a lot of stuff to work out on it, especially just due to the differences in the hardware, right? Like if let's say you're on a console and you're playing Destiny, okay, Destiny 2, for example, that's at 30 FPS on console. Do you really want to be playing against a guy with a mouse and keyboard at 120 FPS? Like it's not an even playing field, right? So I mean,
right, but you can toggle that stuff. Like you can make features in the game where like, hey, if I'm going into PvP, I don't want to play with people who are using mouse and keyboard.
Yes,
but if I'm going into like a raid or something, like that doesn't really have any effect on that part of the game.
Yeah, so. and like as far as I know, like I deal with a lot of server code and all that stuff. So like I know like the PHP side of things and all that stuff, but the things I don't know is like how games communicate. I would assume that these services, that these games that they're making, the code's already there for them to run. Like it's probably just a toggle that like Sony, Microsoft, all of them do not want to necessarily go through and do, because it gives more power to for people to leave their console, right? Like it gives them more options to say, oh, well, now that I can play wherever with whoever I want, I might just want to go play on my Switch from now on,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's what Chucklefish said about Wargroove, right? When Sony was like, they said something about the difficulties of cross-platform stuff, and like, I'm sure a lot of that is true in a lot of cases, but the Wargroove developer said we literally just have to flick a switch that says PlayStation, and it's automatically crossplay with everything else.
Which game was it where it went live accidentally? Was that?
It was
Fortnite. Fortnite, and that was more of a fuck you to Sony.
Oh, certainly.
Like that was more to say, hey, we can do this, and we just showed that we could, so now that's out.
Yeah, we can do it, and it works, and figure your shit out.
Sony's hand.
Yeah,
it's good.
Which to me, I think it's more like if Sony doesn't want to do cross play, like to me, that's more of saying something about their network as opposed to everybody else's. Like I still think, like, don't get me wrong, PlayStation Network is far superior than it was on PlayStation 3, but I still think Xbox Live is a better service if you want to play multiplayer games.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So, I mean, I'm not like I don't know anything about programming anything, but like
I think Sony are doing just a good Nintendo impersonation and just being very slow to embrace something that's right in their face and that everyone's telling them they should. And I think they will for PS5 for sure. Mm-hmm. But it's just they're stubborn, right? And of course they want to just have people on PS4 playing with PS4, but they will open it up. They have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a very Japanese developer thing to do. You look at the way Monster Hunter's multiplayer was implemented, and you see how old that multiplayer model is. No one's doing that stuff anymore. Over there, that's just kind of the norm. Like no one has moved past that like era over there yet.
It's all about tradition, right? Like they're slow. A lot of them are very slow moving. Like they do things the way they've always done it, and it's hard for them to. I mean, look how long it took Nintendo to add multiplayer. Don't you remember like the famous quote? What was the name of their old crazy?
On GameCube.
Where he was like, no one wants multiplayer games.
Yeah, GameCube, they were like, nobody wants to play games online.
Only sad people play role-playing games.
Was that Iwata that said that? That wasn't
Iwata. It was the guy who started Iwata.
Yeah, like the one who took it from playing cards to making Nintendo. And he was like, he was just trashing people who wanted to play role-playing games. He was like, only sad people in their basement play role-playing games. You can look up these quotes. They're hysterical.
Yeah, they're there. I mean, it's...
And it's just it took a long time for them to embrace stuff, and I think Sony's kind of doing that now. Like, why would anyone want to play old games? And like, what PS5 is going to be like, you can play all your old games, and they're just kind of slow moving on it. But Sony being the biggest platform holder, at least on the console, they're able to hold it up kind of because they have 100 million consoles out there. Xbox has around 41. Switch is over 30 now. Mm-hmm. And so Sony being comfortably on top for now can kind of drag their heels, right? But they're not going to be able to for long, especially with the next generation starting soon. So they definitely will embrace it. I feel it's that backwards compatibility. Like they have to embrace.
I wonder
it.
if they're just kind of like trying to rebuild the network for PlayStation 5 that will allow it to be easier for them to do that.
I think that, like, from my understanding of their back-end code, it would be much better for them to rebuild at this point, because, like, the fact that you can't even change your online name, like, I know they have that beta out, but that only works in certain, like, instances, where even, like, Anthem gives you the ability to select your call sign because they know that's a problem on PlayStation. Like,
Is Sony still using Amazon servers?
I don't know that. I think everything was just built on proprietary Sony technology that they didn't use an engine to build their online service. They just threw something together.
Duct tape, string.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think that, like, I think there was, I don't remember who or where I heard this, and I could be repeating it wrong. So if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But I remember a while back, I think it might have been Podcast Beyond. Like, they actually did like a deep dive as to why you can't change your name, and they went into, like, because apparently the way Sony chose to assign the value of the username, it attached it, like, intrinsically to payment information.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, on Xbox, you can the payment information is separate from the front facing username. Things like that.
Whereas, like, Xbox uses everybody has like a unique 16-digit number that is attached to their payment information, and then you just lay the name on top of
that. And Microsoft also has years of dealing with servers. Like, you have to think about, like, Azure, like, all their cloud-based stuff. Like, Microsoft, before Xbox 360 had all this experience coming into it with managing mail servers and managing all this other stuff. Sony just kind of was like, oh, this is something that seems to be popular. We need to figure out a way to get this fucking thing out.
Yeah.
Just push it out and let's attach this weird ass Sims thing to it.
If I'm correct, on PS2 you didn't even have an account, did you? Like,
No,
you just
each service that you played, like, if you played Final Fantasy 11, it had an internal account thing that you had to go and sign up for.
Madden, you just clicked play online and you just went.
Yeah, I think SOCOM you had to sign up with your email address.
Yeah.
Oh,
the good old archaic days of the internet, right?
Yeah. Dreamcast.
We're still there a lot more than you realize.
It's weird. It's weird how we've moved really, really far, but not gone really, really far.
Yeah, you work in web development long enough, you realize how everything's just held together by a fucking string.
By, like, duct tape, yeah.
Well, I think who was it on the Giant Bomb 10-year anniversary show where, I think it might have been Dave Snyder. He was talking about how the Engine X or whatever hasn't really changed since the advent of the internet, and it's all kind of still the same. And I might be repeating that wrong because I am not tech savvy at all, or at least I'm
Engine
not.
X it's definitely, like, that's a thing that a lot of people still use. It's like a SQL server.
It's like
basically.
it's basically the backbone of the internet at this point, right?
I mean, like, databases are the backbone of the internet, but, like, all those are, like, if you think of a database, it's basically just a big Excel spreadsheet.
Right.
That's all it is. And that's where all your data lives, is in Excel spreadsheets on the internet.
That's scary to think that the internet could just, like, break one day and you're just like, wow.
Yeah. One like wrong cut cable and everyone's fucked.
Yeah.
Well, the way I see it, I think the only people who would be really pissed are the people that engage with Snapchat in a very real way.
I would be rather upset because that's the only way I make my living is through the internet.
Okay, all right.
Matt, don't open that snap I sent you. It's bad.
I'm not on Snapchat, so if you send it to somebody, you didn't send it to me.
Well, whoops.
Corey's dick is now out there.
Yeah.